And race 3 about to get underway thanks to Comply Space and Advanced Energy, and it's been a ripper of a weekend so far. The third and final race has Alan Simonson on pole, Scott Bargwanna alongside him, John Chule and Mark Eddy, Ross Lilly, Hector Lester, Andrew Taplin and Dave Stevens rounding out the top 8.
It's been a fairly dominant performance by Simonson in qualifying races 1 and 2, but the real battles have been further back in the pack. The one in race 2 for third position was a rip snorter as the cars come onto the main straight.
And this is take 3 of that battle for the final podium spot. I can't wait. Look at Bargwanna, sneaky. No, Simonson plants it, disappears off into the distance. That was a great start by Alan Simonson.
Yeah, Clark on the course says you must maintain 80 kilometres an hour all the way as the cars pound off the curves as they head through turns 1 and 2. Ferrari's in the air.
Until they wave the green flag. Look at this. Oh, Bargwanna snatches a break right up behind Simonson. I thought he was going to drill in there. Great driving to manage to avoid a collision.
Oh, and it continues it along. Scott knows that early on in this race is his best chance to get in front of Alan Simonson, but at this point in time his measure's there. But back to the restart, Grant. The clerk of the course says you must maintain 80 kilometres an hour. There has been some issues in the past with those restart rules, but on that particular occasion there was a small jump and Alan got away. Scott looks for the inside into turn 8. Is he firing up alongside? No, Simonson shuts the door.
Oh, I thought he may have had him, but he might get him down into turn 9. Pulls out of the slipstream. Once again, Simonson very solid under brakes. Look at Mark Eddy. He's right up into this battle too.
Yeah, great job by Mark Eddy. Really coming to terms with the Lambo after stepping out of Ferrari, and he's doing a great job in race 3.
What an interesting start to this race. There's Eddy sitting back there in third. Ross Lilly right behind. Hector Lester not done with this weekend as well.
No, Hector's done a great job, considering he only comes to Australia a couple of times a year, just for the celebrity races, if you like. But hopefully we'll see more of Hector in years to come.
He's a great guy. Really good attitude to life, and particularly to motorsport too. So the more we see him out there, the better. There he is on your screen, the 21 car.
Yeah, Hector obviously racing in the British GT and some rounds of the FIA GT 3 Championship as well.
And the man who's leading the race is usually his teammate, so he's in reasonable hands. Look at this, Bargwanna really applying the pressure. I think Simonson will actually be enjoying this weekend to have this sort of competition from a guy who just doesn't make mistakes in a race car.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And Scott Bargwanna is reasonably new to racing. Oh, and Bargs just grabs a right front wheel as he lunges underneath brakes. But Alan won't know too much about Scott's driving style. They haven't spent much time racing against each other, and having an unknown competitor, a warrior if you like, is part of the thrill.
Simple, Alan. It's good. Very good. That's all you need to know. He knows it too. He's watching in the revision mirror. Oh, it gets very loose, the Ferrari under brakes, but then again so too did the Lotus.
Yeah, the track's changing from year to year, and you can see actually online out to the screen right there that the bumps are particularly bad, and every time you come to a circuit as a race driver you're looking for subtle changes in the circuit, and watching these cars pitch and dance across the surface show how much this track has changed since I was there last.
Dave Stevens doing a good job. He's trying to get up onto the tail of Ross Lilly, but Lilly's got the measure of him at the moment. Speaking of measures, look at that. That's the biggest gap we've seen so far in this race. It's about 2 or 3 car lengths, and that's it.
Yeah, exactly. Alan's just controlling the pace and actually used a little bit more curve that time than he has in the past. So there's no doubt that he's aware that Scott's behind him and keeping the pace nice and fast because of that.
It's funny, when you see the Ferrari bouncing across the top of the ripple strips like that, you think that's just no way to treat a Ferrari. But then by the same token, Enzo Ferrari was the one who said, I build cars to race, you choose to drive them on the road.
That's right, or on the curbs or in the air or wherever it is that you want to take them. But Alan using every bit of performance out of that Ferrari just to keep him in the front.
The gap very little between these two, so we're going to see this battle go right down to the checkered flag as well. And the dice right behind for that final podium spot is the one that's going to keep us enthralled right down to the checkered flag. At the moment, Mark Eddy with the upper hand over Ross Lilly, who's staying with him. Then there's a great dice. You've got Dave Stevens having a look down the inside of Hector Lester. Has he done too much, though? Can he arrest the car? Well, he just doesn't. Lester tries to fight back over the top of the ripple strip. Well, he managed to gather it all up, but I think there may have just been a slight percentage of luck in that one.
For years and years, we've watched cars get hooked up on the exit curve of turn 9 there, and the curve is so sharp, so steep that the under underbelly, the main plane of the car gets caught up and both rear wheels end up spinning and the car slews sideways, exactly as we saw there. But it was a great move and well executed in the end.
Yeah, it doesn't matter how you do it as long as you get it done, and Dave Stevens did exactly that. Well done. Well done indeed. Look at that, how you're talking about the bumps. That's the area of the circuit that's had the drivers concerned right across the weekend. In the lead up to turn 3, there is all of those bumps, and that's right on the braking area. It's where the car gets really unsettled.
Particularly in older cars where the ABS system in the racing version is not as pronounced, or sorry, I should say more pronounced than in the current version cars, because those little bumps can trigger the ABS system, which will in many situations actually increase the car's speed in the braking zone. It doesn't stop you any shorter when you hit bumps, and making subtle changes to your style if you're in a car with ABS on those sorts of bumps is incredibly important.
We all know that you know, every racetrack you go to is a compromise in some way, shape or form. How would you describe this place?
This is a massive compromise because you've got everything. Oh no, they're in the pit lane once again.
Simon Middleton, geez, had a tough weekend. He was able to get the car back out there for the final race. Started at the rear of the field, but finds himself down in pit lane. Really disappointed for Simon.
Not to mention that small incident at this part of the track, turn 9 in race 2, but we talked about the setup and how you approach a circuit like Clipsal, because there are low speed corners, and turn 8 obviously one of the most famous fast corners in Australia, and the massive bumps and the big curbs. It's a very tricky place to set a car up for, particularly with regards to suspension settings, and you often find at a place like Clipsal that your fastest race lap is one of the last few that you do.
You know, when you're out on a boat and you hit a bit of wake and the thing sort of bounces, that's exactly what the Ferrari of Alan Simonson looked like there.
But you don't lose too many fillings on a boat.
No, true. Scott Bargwanna still staying with him though. The Lotus is not done with yet. The Urban Arrangements pilot doing a really good job this week, and I think, you know, even though he's come away with a couple of seconds, he's going to walk away from this weekend saying, yeah, I gave it my all.
Yeah, big pat on the back, and both Scott and Darcy Russell for me are the two standouts this weekend. They've done a tremendous job. Unfortunately, Darcy couldn't repair his car in time for race 3 after slapping the wall at the end of race 2 there, but you know, we expect Alan as a professional driver to be up the front in one of the fastest cars in the Australian GT Championship. John Chulin is another driver there on screen with Taplin that's been doing a fantastic job after an unfortunate turn 1 incident in race 1.
And you get the feeling that Andrew Taplin's starting to close that gap a little bit too to the Industry Central's car as well.
Yeah, I think that there's a little bit more to be said between those two before this race is out.
Oh, okay. Down across the start-finish line they come to complete another lap, and Simonson edging away now. 2.5 seconds, the gap between first and second.
And you could see that last time through the first and second corners how Alan's car wasn't as aggressive off the curbs, and that's down to the driver just deciding as Alan approaches a back marker. Blue flags are waving. I don't know that he'll be expecting that.
Well, you wouldn't expect it around this circuit and around this part of the circuit too. Very, very tight, and Peter Fontes has done a great job in getting out of the way. You know, he'll do the same for Scott Bargwanna, but always Simonson is going to be the first to approach the back markers, and he is obviously going to always be at a disadvantage.
Yeah, when you're leading a race, you're looking, oh, there's been a spin. That's Wong coming onto the main straight. Last corner. Oh!
Keith Wong comes back out onto the main 4 just in front of the Porsche.
And Anthony Caceres doing a great job to avoid contact there at the last corner.
And he'll pick up a spot as a result, but Wong has put the power down and is closing up as he finally gets the car pointed in the right direction and uses some ripple strip.
And have a look at the front right of that Ferrari dragging on the ground. The split has been dislodged either from the spin or attacking the curbs like we saw just then.
Well, that's going to cost him some valuable time and some downforce. The car will want to understeer down through the turns as well. No problems with understeer for this car. The Coopers machine well and truly on song, and of course Coopers from South Australia, they originated here, so it's very much a home race for his sponsor.
Yeah, doing a great job, and Scott Bargwanna still tagging him behind, just close enough to be annoying for Alan, knowing that if he does make a mistake under brakes, that Scott will be there to take that position within a flash.
Yeah, and that's exactly where Scott's going to hope that he's going to make a mistake, but Alan doesn't make too many, I can guarantee that. Up across the top section of the circuit they come, nice and smooth. We have not seen the Ferrari move around under acceleration or brakes too much right across the weekend.
Yeah, every now and again you're going to get a race car which just works, and you know it's tough to come to a place like Clipsal and get one that works out of the box. We've seen that from the Cooper's machine this weekend. It's been drivable. We haven't seen it slide around, as you mentioned. We haven't seen it pitch too dramatically under brakes. It shows the highlights across the surface, but that looks like one real nice car to drive at this point in time.
I wouldn't mind being in it at the moment. It's out in front of the field and doing a very, very good job. There's still battles going on further back in the field too as everybody tries to settle themselves down. Look at that. Anthony Caceres has actually been able to pull away from Wong, so he's given himself a bit of breathing space, not only taken the spot away, but increased the gap.
Look, the first time you have a spin at a street circuit and keep it off the walls is a very memorable experience, and Keith Wong's obviously just toned it down a little bit, doesn't want to make those same mistakes there. They are not fighting for the podium, so he just wants to gain some experience and become a little bit familiar with the handling characteristics of that car before he presses on.
And Keith Wong, a local here in South Australia, and I suppose the great thing about coming to a circuit like this is nobody can do any testing here. Well, you can, it's just not quite legal.
Yeah, well, we'd never advocate that, but testing around Clipsal just comes from race miles.
Yeah.
You know, you can sit on a computer, you can learn left and right on your video games or what have you, but once you get behind the wheel at a track like this, it is definitely something that opens your eyeballs, as we see that Carl Taplin, it was again, launching off the curbs.
I think he just lost his eyeballs. He rounds up Pontus, moves forward as he relegates him down one lap. Taplin on a charge at the moment, trying to stay in touch with Hector Lester.
And I can tell you that is a seriously quick racing car. We've had many battles on the track before, and in a straight line that thing has got some horsepower.
Awesome looking machine too. He's fire-breathing dragon under deceleration there.
Absolutely. The first time that you see flames come out the back of a car that are more than 3 feet long, you think you're going to lose your eyebrows. But it is definitely something, particularly in the dark, in the long endurance races, night races, where flames are firing out the back. It's a spectacle to remember.
There's Mark Krashos in the number 10 Porsche, making his way around the circuit.
Oh, back in under.
Call understeer.
Yeah, just locking up the rears on the bumps there, as you could see the car stepping out, and as a peak plater it's always concerning when that stuff happens. But Simonson leading this last lap, he'll be enjoying this moment because it's been a flawless performance.
It has been. He's driven so well right across the weekend, and he's done it with challenges, don't forget. You know, right across the weekend, Scott Barguana has taken this battle right up to him, and I honestly didn't expect that coming into this round. So this has been an admirable performance, not only by Alan Simonson, but Scott Barguana as well.
I can tell you, the last time you run down the straight, you're looking at your gauges, you're relaxing your fingers, you're making sure that every gear change happens perfectly, and you're listening for noises that aren't there, but you're always second guessing. I wonder whether this is going to get over the line. At this point in time, Alan not only enjoying the moment, but also just nursing that car through the final few corners.
And you know what the team are doing on the final lap? Absolutely nothing. No one will look at each other, no one will talk, everyone just stays totally silent, and only when the car comes onto the start-finish line are they prepared to start showing some emotion.
Yeah, family and friends, fingers crossed on the wall for what will be a memorable performance by the Cooper's racing machine this weekend at Clipsal.
Here he comes, final race of the weekend, and Alan Simonson comes down across the line. He takes the checkered flag and a clean sweep here at the Adelaide Parklands.
Scott Barguana second, Mark Eddy, great performance in the quarterback Lamborghini. Ross Lilly was fourth, David Stevens from Hector Lester, then Andrew Taplin, and Mark Krashos rounding out the 8.
Clipsal 500 is always an interesting time, and I've had a lot of success here over the years, some great battles on the track. It's a very daunting place, obviously being a street track, and but you know, this weekend was good for us. Our car was very good. You know, the boys have been working really hard on getting the car reliable, which it proved to be this weekend. Obviously, Cooper's being our main sponsor on the car, it's to win in Adelaide in front of his crowd is obviously a great thing to do. So overall, it's just been a fantastic weekend for us. Good to see also some new cars battling for the lead. Great to see the Lotus come alive, and you know, good to see Mark Eddy in his new Lamborghini. You know, it's always nice to see new faces giving you a hard time. So well done.
I definitely think that Clipsal 500 really suits the car, but you know, it's a credit to the guys, and the urban arrangement Lotus car number 99 was on fire for the weekend. Alan could get away with it, a bit of a gap on us through turn 8 and definitely the longer straight. But if we stayed there in the tow, it definitely had the power.
I only got the car last week, and it's my first drive in it, and I just tried to be consistent and to be on the podium. I'm absolutely wrapped with the new car. Well, it's a lot of fun spraying those beautiful young girls up there. Haven't done that for a while, so that was great being up there.
So your championship points after round 2 of the Australian GT Championship sees Alan Simonson in the lead from Ross Lilly, Scott Bargwanna and Craig Baird on 92.
Yeah, what an interesting championship it's going to be, because Alan Simonson's already said he's not going to be here for the entire season, but he's holding the #1 cup up at the moment. Great to see the guys up there on the podium. Don't forget, for more information on the series, gtchampionship.com.au is the website you have to visit. Well, that's it from the Adelaide Parklands. We'll look forward to catching up with you next time. Chaplin is around.